Threads, Elon Zuck fight.
Yeah.
Fight, breakdown, Twitter. Like it's been fascinating to me how many articles there are about Twitter, the Twitter killer, like how Zuck is now the hero, which I think is just, it's fucking bonkers that he's now like the poster child of like the hero and Elon Musk is the villain. So we can talk about just, let's just dive into that. At least we do an episode. Let's just do an episode. If we want to do like a second one, we can dive deeper into stuff.
Yeah, we're rolling.
Yeah.
Do you like Threads?
We're not even doing an intro of this episode, guys.
No,
Max and Lowe's show. We're just diving right in. We're doing a Joe Rogan special.
Yeah, boom.
Just right into it.
You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna get one of those fancy like sound things, and then boom, we're just all in. We actually started like testing things. Like when you do introductions, like people don't like it.
It's boring. It's nobody.
No one cares.
Yeah, nobody cares. They've already clicked to listen to your episodes. They already. It's not like they're on watching TV.
Right.
Something pops up and they're like, "What is it all about?" It's like, no, I went here to listen to this episode.
100%.
Just talk about it.
We're just all in here.
Right.
Max and Lowe show.
Until we start trying to take as much money from you as possible and doing sponsors, we're going to do like 150 sponsors.
Yeah.
Just imagine like
at the beginning.
a 17-minute read in the beginning of just all the ads just
That'd
stacked.
be amazing.
No, so I mean the Threads in general, I think it's been fun. Anytime there's something new that comes out, it's always fun to play around with it. When Clubhouse came out, it was fun to play around with. I think the big question is like, will it be successful? Will it be around in a year, or will it be a flop? Like that's really what people care about. And
I don't know why they made it a different app. It should have just been in Insta. I think it would have been a better, quicker user experience. And you would have already had all those followers, right? Like now you got to regain, which creates opportunity and stuff. I like it because Twitter's just becomes like, it's all the news and other things, a lot of negativity, but also it's like, if you want to create content there, you almost got to create like syllabus, like I've experienced this in my life, and over the past 17 years, these are the 5 things that happened to me. Thread, and then like you can't just be a normal person. Like I've been just saying dumb shit on my threads, and I think it's like more vibey. People are just having more fun. Yeah,
Twitter definitely. You feel like you need to put more work into it, which is kind of getting away from what made Twitter great. And like the core of Twitter when it first started was 140 characters, quick. Basically SMS. It was like, you say, hey, I'm here eating a burger, telling your friends.
Kind of how Threads is right now.
Text. Yeah. And so that's what's great about Twitter is you can just impulsively hop on like, hey, just saw movie X. Like it was awesome.
Yeah.
Loved it. Like, cool. That's like impulsively. I don't think about it. Now I find myself when I go to tweet, it's like, I need to think this through. Like I can't just impulsively, I want to post this, but like, do I need more? Do I need to
show stats? Do I need to do that? Like
more bullets, more features, more things like that.
It's a blog, dude.
Yeah. And so extending the the length, I get why they did it back in the day. But yeah, so the Threads point, like I like the fact that it's super basic.
Yeah.
I like the fact that it's almost like back in the early days of Twitter where it's super pure. It was just all you do is you get on there and you just post stuff and you read stuff.
That's it.
There's really no filtering. There's no searching. There's no hashtag. There's no trending. It's just like post and read, post and read.
Yeah.
And that's it. I think the big advantage they have, and I agree, I think it would have been interesting as an experiment to see it within the Instagram ecosystem as like stories and things like that. I think they may have not done it because they did test that notes feature, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think that did well.
Yeah.
And so that might have been like a test. They did like notes to see what the response was and it didn't do well. And there's like, maybe there's too much stuff. It is great that you can pull over a lot of your Instagram following.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge advantage for them.
100%.
The reason why it's hard to compete, the reason why nobody's been able to compete with Twitter is because launching a social network is really hard because it's only valuable if people are on it.
Yeah.
Like Twitter's not valuable if there's 10 users on Twitter.
Right.
Like unless that happens to be your 10 buddies and you guys like shoot the shit all the time. But like it's not a valuable feature. It's valuable when there's 50 million people, 100 million people on it, 1 billion people on it. Mm-hmm. And so Instagram was able to say like, hey, just pull over a bunch of your followers. And in 1 week, I now have the same number of followers on Threads as I do on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm all in on Threads because I have like 15, 16,000 people on Threads. I got my Twitter hack, so I have like 2,000 or 10,000 people on. Like it's irrelevant.
Yeah, I've been a Twitter user since 2008.
Right.
2008. Yeah. I probably went a decade without using it, but like still 2008 to today, I had the same number of followers on Threads in a week.
Yeah.
like that's a great win for users. Is the dopamine hit you get there, right? As a user of like, oh man, I'm growing really, really fast. I got all these followers, and people are every tweet I make or every thread I make is getting likes and comments and replies and all that stuff. And the fact that it's tied into IG where you can share it as an IG post.
Yeah.
It's nicely designed and stuff.
Yeah.
That's great because a lot of people repurpose their tweets for Instagram.
Yep.
But it's
now
work.
they don't have to.
They have to go to Canva, put it into a template, put it onto there. Now they literally just thread,
toss it,
share it, boom.
Yep.
That's a huge win.
Yeah. It's crazy that like Mark Zuckerberg literally is the best at copying people on the planet. When he does try to do a thing, it actually doesn't work that much. Like Meta is not to play, you know. Then he's like, oh, let's just copy Twitter. Bam. Crushes it. Let's copy TikTok Reels. Crush.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's is what it is. Like, we all copy each other anyways. He's just like the number one guy in the world.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting topic. Like the idea of being an originator versus being kind of second, third, fourth, and kind of copying. Because you could make the argument that like Apple doesn't really, not with everything, but like with a lot of their home run products weren't like the inventors.
Right.
Right. Like they weren't the first smartphone.
Right.
They weren't the first tablet. They weren't the first smartwatch. They weren't the first Bluetooth headset. Mm-hmm. They kind of wait, they sit back, they let other people feel it out, figure even the VR glasses, right?
Right.
The reality. Then they spend years and years and years just making it incredible.
Way better than everyone else.
They have the ecosystem they plug it into. And that's kind of what Meta's done to an extent.
Yeah.
They've built the ecosystem. And now it's like, hey, we can copy features and apps, deploy them in our massive ecosystem, and we get a huge head start. So we're all at Threads. We have 3-4 billion users across our platforms. Cool. Just we instantly have massive following already in the app. 100 million plus users on there.
Yeah. The reach is kind of weak. You know, I made a post about a thread about this. So I was like, I've got like 14,000. They're not bots. They're like 15,000 real people there. I'm posting something and I'm looking at other bigger people than me, and they're posting something 150 likes, 14 likes, like one share, whatever, which is crazy because like if it's brand new, like you should, how does growth in that particular thing work?
Let me look at like Mr. Beast, for example, because he's the first one to 1 million, right? So, which is pretty wild to, get 1 million.
Well, the first thing he did was give a car away.
Yeah.
Genius.
So like he has 4.4 million now.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, I mean, he's getting like 52,000 likes. This is the car giveaway, 607,000 likes, 200,000, 200,000, 100,000. So like, I'd be curious to compare that to like Twitter and other other channels and see like how that compares based on its follower ratio to like ratio. Mm-hmm. It is interesting. They don't put, there's no data on here for impressions.
Yeah.
Right. And that's probably an intentional choice.
Yeah. I like that you can't see how many people you're following,
Well, yeah, it's not as obvious. It's like you can click into it and like go into it, but it's a few steps through the process. But I agree. I think it does seem like reach is not as great as it should be. Based on how many followers you have and the fact that it's a new platform, there should be
you should toss it because that's what gets people. Like if you want to create more, just right now is the time to like everybody gets everything seen. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. But they're just going full like, it's kind of like Insta, like you get what you get. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think it could also be just people are, figuring out what resonates. Like I think a lot of people are figuring out like, what should I post here?
Yeah.
Like how does this fit into my social media marketing plan as a influencer, as a business, as a creator, as whoever it is? Like what should I post here? What should I post on Twitter? Right now it's like, I would imagine for most people, it's a majority of just repurposed tweets.
Yeah.
Similar to how like Reels and Shorts were just repurposed TikToks for quite a while until Messeri and like Instagram started cracking down on it.
Right.
I don't know how they crack down on like repurposed tweets. It's a lot easier with videos because like the metadata and video files, like you can identify that with a text, the copy and paste. It's much harder. I don't think there's any way to do that unless they were able to crawl all of Twitter and like match up stuff, which
you're not going to be able to do it. I'm just going to be funny in it. Like I think it's like a good opportunity to like be a more normal person because like everything is just such a like version of yourself nowadays. It just becomes like so exhausting. I'm wondering like what after this, this is the thing. It'll be whatever. What could you make differently now. If you did make a social media app, like on a communication level, I mean, there's video, there's saying just words. The audio thing is not gonna fly. I don't think. You know, we're not getting another Clubhouse. What would you do?
I don't know. I mean, short of
because Facebook groups, in its own sense, it's almost like another social network. You know what I mean? That's almost like what Facebook is now. Facebook groups.
I mean, short of like a medium shift of like AR and VR getting mainstream adoption, and then that opening up the door to like whole other social networking functionalities in there. I mean, there's not much more you can do. I always like the idea of like the Clubhouse and Twitter Spaces, and like I like that concept of being able to have these kind of pop up, bring a bunch of people in and just like shoot the shit, and just like talk about whatever you want and have guests and stuff. I would love for that to be, and maybe there's something out there that I was not aware of. Like for video, obviously becomes like a bandwidth issue. I'm sure there's all logistics there, but it's like a lot of streaming and content creation is very one to many. It's like me create stuff and put it out there.
Yeah,
I like live mainly because with live content, you don't have to spend as much time on the stuff that's time consuming, which is the editing.
Yeah.
Like the reason I don't like creating content for social media when it comes to like Instagram and TikTok and stuff is it's so time consuming.
Yes.
Right. Like, okay, I need to say, here's the topics I want to talk about. I'm going to shoot a bunch today, and they all need to be in this time frame, because that's the other pain in the ass is like you have shorts capped at a minute. You have reels capped at 90 seconds. You have TikTok now going up to 10 minutes. So basically like I shoot for like a minute and a half because, shorts can get cut off a little bit, but like at least then it kind of fits into two of the platforms. But then you're shooting this and I'm going through a topic and I need to be super fast. I need to hit all these things to fit into this really compressed window of time. Then it needs to get edited, and you need to throw the captions on and the graphics and all this crap on it. It's like, at the end of the day, like it matters because it matters when it comes to getting engagement, but like it doesn't add anything.
Right.
Like, it doesn't add anything.
It's so noisy.
All that should matter is what am I teaching somebody? Like when you watch a video, what are you learning? It's like when you read a book. Like when you read a book, you don't care about like the book having flashy graphics in it or like animated words or like any of that. It's like, it's a good book because I learned something and it tells a story in an interesting way. It's engaging. Like you care about the substance of the content.
I watch YouTube because I like things. I don't, you get on through things and it's just like bloop, bloop, swipe, 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 swipe. And it's just like, you're not even paying attention, right? Like, it's just so fast to swipe and so fast to move. Like it makes you like, as a creator too, like not want to make content. Like I haven't made a lot of stuff recently. So like, what if I already said it and like, it's boring, and what are you going to do? Like, I got to hook you in 10 seconds, whatever. McGinn came over like a couple of weeks ago, and we just talked about like one of his most viral videos right now is like me just dogging Nobu. Yeah. And I was like, it's trash, blah, blah, blah. And then like Master of Steakhouse, and like, nothing to do with, I've been thinking about, I've been talking a lot to Ryan about it. I was like, dude, I just want to like be weird and then like go to YouTube and you can find out I'm smart. And kind of use that approach. And he was like, I think it's the best thing to do. Because he goes very enormously wide. And then like, you narrow down some stuff.
For how many videos you shoot in a session, right?
Right.
It's like, you can't create 60 videos or 100 videos in a 4-hour, 6-hour session all about marketing tips or like.
And no one wants to share that, right? Yeah. Like the actual good content is for like, I watch it, I'll send it to you, maybe like Onic or something, and then I'm out. And so it doesn't get shares, right? Like it's too specific, but the general stuff gets you kind of like a little bit more reach, and then kind of you get to know people and then stick on that kind of situation, Yeah,
it's a challenge. And I don't know how eventually this wave of the way content's produced will die off, because everything dies off and changes.
Right.
But I do wish there was some platform and medium that was just like really built around like, it almost penalizes editing and filtering and all that stuff. Like almost stream of consciousness. Yeah. Where it's just like you just read something cool, or you just thought it like a cool concept or something. You just want to talk about it.
And you can't do that on stories because they shut. So, because I would like to do stuff like that. The reason I hate doing stories is because like I got to do it, and then it goes into another, and then it just looks weird. Now people are like, they might have seen 2, they don't want to see the third. It's like, dude, I don't want to. That's stupid.
Yeah, and that's why I used to back in the day like Facebook Live and stuff because it's just you press go live and you just talk.
And it's fun because you're just there. And
It's
there's
live.
people, they have, hey, John asked, like, something like a radio show, right? Like, it'd be cool if, like, we did these live, like what you were saying, like, we're turning things on. We have, like a Insta or something, we're putting it in, and someone else is here and it's like, oh, Mark is asking. That would be fun as hell.
Yeah.
And that's what that was.
Yeah. And I think it's there that exists in the ecosystem right now. There is a desire for unedited, unfiltered, long form content. That's why Joe Rogan exists. That's why Lex Friedman exists. That's why Huberman exists. Like, there is a desire there. The problem is, it's real. None of the platforms are really built for it. Obviously, like podcasting is a little different, and YouTube you can kind of do it.
Old.
But like, none of the platforms are really built to reward that, and so it's hard to get big enough where like. They're big enough. Rogan's big enough that like it doesn't matter,
right?
People just know him, so they. But it's like you need to get people to pay attention, to give it a chance of time of day,
right?
To understand that like what you talk about in these long sessions is really cool and valuable.
Yeah.
And so it's like you need to convince people of that first before you can get them to say, I'm going to allocate 3 hours to a podcast.
Yeah.
And it's this weird catch-22, and so it's very challenging, and we're in this weird spot right now with content. But I do wish there was like somebody built a platform, like even if like Rogan built, I think that'd be cool. It's like roll out a platform where it's just like, that's all it's about. The algorithm is tuned, and I don't know how you quantify this. It's very difficult, but it's like tuned to substance over like engagement metrics.
Yeah. You can't do that.
It's that. Without
and
some of
a
human.
A marketer would find a way to hack it, and then we'd be screwed.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about too, like just writing stuff, but then like where do you put it? You don't get reach. You got to go on Threads. You got to make a thread. Just like Medium, like that.
Substack, like, Medium, different platforms.
Just like getting the normal things. Like, but that's why I think newsletters are also blowing up again. Because it's like newsletters have been around since we started, dude. Like very, very way before that, whatever the case, right? But I think people want, hey, if you want like stuff to read and digest and be like engaged with for a minute or more, sign into this, and I think those things are kind of going to continue to blow up. And I think possibly in like maybe a year or so, you're going to start seeing like hour-long, like the webinars, people are going to want to watch webinars and presentations and just longer form stuff again, because it'll become more like, I want to watch a show. Like, I like your little stuff. It'll kind of almost be reversed, right? Like, you used to watch the big stuff, and now you watch so much little stuff, then you watch the little stuff and it gets you into the bigger stuff, because it's unfun almost to create such like, okay, boom, 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 instead of like this and more, and then like to grow into that. Like, that's, it's a lot. It's engaging. There's stuff you can't clip out, but talking to Ryan, it's like, oh, podcast clips don't work. You got to do these. You're working, like creators are like probably more than ever now, like dead ass, like it's a job. It's a full on. I mean, what's his face? Did you hear that there's a scholarship? I think it was Miami University did the Alex Earl scholarship. Like an actual university is like doing a scholarship for like how to be an influencer. So, or creator, whatever the case, right? So I think it's it's a career now, but I think it's gonna continue to be more and more into, it's almost like broadcasting media kind of a version
it's
of
no
it.
different than, a decade, even as soon as probably 5 years ago, but definitely decades ago, like getting a journalism degree.
Right.
You want to go be an anchor or a producer or a writer on MSNBC, CNN, Fox, like you get a journalism degree.
Right.
Like it's not much different.
It's the new version of that, really, is all it is. Because you can just be a journalist and aggregate and create and like go out to do all your other things and get your following and stuff like that. So I think it'll be fun to continue to use Threads. I think it'll stick. I think it's one of the things that are going to stick. It's funny to see like the heavy beef that I heard Elon's going to sue for basically just ripping Twitter. But like he's actively he called him a cuck, I think.
Yeah, he did.
Like savage.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like there are moments where like I'm a huge Elon fan.
Same.
For a lot of reasons, but there are things where it's like
he's a troll.
He's a troll, but it's also like this is where everyone has a line, right? Like free speech, people that are free speech absolutists.
Yeah.
Are free speech absolutists until it's like inconvenient to them, and then there's somehow a line.
Yeah.
People that are like capitalism at all costs, like it's cutthroat. Like it's always people have this line that like when it gets inconvenient to them, the standards change.
Right.
And I feel like with Elon, that's like really,
That's
dude,
exactly what that was. Cause he was like, I want to change speech, blah, blah. And then Zuck's like, samesies. And he's like, no.
yeah, it's like, he came onto Twitter, it's free speech absolutist, and like, that hasn't been the case. He's
reversing it. Yeah.
Yeah. He's made some changes. He's banned people that talk bad about it. It's like, it hasn't been great for him, some of the decisions he's made. And then like the meta thing, it's like, dude, I get you care because you overpaid massively for Twitter. I get it. Like you're massively in debt on that project. Like it's a big risk. But at the same time, like it's a free market.
Yeah.
Meta wants to compete with you. Like they recruited a bunch of your employees.
It's the only way he can actually create more things because he can't buy them.
Yeah. And so like, if there was, like if employees like stole proprietary stuff and brought it over, that's one thing. Like if they broke the law, they broke the law. But it's like to sue them because like you recruited a bunch of their employees and those employees like have insight because they work at Twitter. Like that's just the way it works. So that's big tech. Like people jump from company to company
100%.
to company. TikTok hires a bunch of Facebook ad engineers to work on that platform. Like that's just the way it works.
Yeah.
Just like you brought on people from different companies.
Yeah.
And
In
stuff
itself,
like that.
that's part of their job. They switch because they can get a better one.
And you also can't, you can't bitch about it when you fired almost the entire company.
Yeah, you did.
You can't get mad that like people then went and worked at Meta. It's like they hired people that you fired. Like if you didn't want your competitors to hire people, like you shouldn't have fired them. You made a decision to cut, which I actually think was a good decision. Like cut the fat. You need to.
Yeah.
But you can't have both ways, right? You can't fire everybody and then get bitter and sue because your competitors are launching competing products and even did it, he was for a while, was like blocking outbound links to like Substack and other things. It's like a lot of it's petty.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. Like there's so much I like about Elon, but there's like these moments where because he's just like what I would imagine, like a nerdy kid who gets super wealthy and can do whatever he wants in the world. Like he's just a human being.
It's very bratty, but he's putting it online now. Like
he's
more
a human
aggressively.
being. Yeah. And he's just like has no filter and doesn't care anymore. Like when you're that rich, like you just don't care. Like, he's so fabulously rich and successful and smart. Like doesn't care. And it's getting him in trouble a little bit. I agree. A lot of stuff he says I agree with, but then there's some things like, dude, you got to rein it in. Like pull it back.
Yeah, you're still Elon Musk.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Pull it back 10%.
Yeah.
Right. Pull back 10% and it'd be great because he's just feeding the problem is he's giving the people who are way worse, like mainstream media and politicians, ammo. So like he's doing a bunch of things really good, but he's saying every day, every week, something stupid or something that just gives them a talking point that they can run an article and a story for a week and push this and distract everybody from like all the good stuff. Like you're not helping your case and it's hurting them. And like to the point the topic we're going to talk about today is like the PR, like the reason I think Threads is going to be successful also is because they have all the PR and media behind them, right? Like if you go on Google right now and you search like Twitter killer, every single major media outlet, tech blog, business, like all of them have run the same headline, almost all of them. It's Threads is a Twitter killer. Elon is scared. Elon's on the ropes. Zuckerberg going to take over. It's all like glowing for Threads. And like the media for since Elon's bought Twitter, the left and the media have been just waiting for somebody, some white knight to come out that can beat Elon because they hate the fact that their app, Twitter, got bought by a guy they don't agree with.
Right.
They hate it.
Yeah.
And so they want it to go away or him to go away. And nobody's been a real threat to them. The advertiser boycott didn't work. Like none of the things that they thought was going to kill Twitter. And now it's like, okay, Mark Zuckerberg's entering the ring and he's going to physically fight him and he's going to fight him in business. Like this guy's our hero now, which is just wild because 3 years ago, he was getting grilled in front of the Senate.
Yeah.
And he was labeled, public enemy number one. Everybody hated him. He's a robot. He's an alien. He's a terrible human being. He's, the worst of the worst of the worst. And now he's like, go Mark. Like, look how jacked he is.
Jiu-jitsu expert.
He's the
gonna
best.
Go fight. Like all the things.
That is the best. Zuckerberg's the best.
You know what else they've done that's kind of smart and like subtle PR moves, like Mosetti or whatever the CEO's
Mosseri.
Mosseri.
Adam, yeah.
He has done a great job at like painting himself as like, I'm here for you. I'm going to personally give you the updates. I'm going to let you know I'm listening to you. Like he's on it, dude.
It's like anti-Elon. He's as active on Instagram as Elon, but he's like doing it from a very toned down, like not polarizing perspective.
Yeah, he is like one of the best things that they've been able to do to like bring Instagram and Reels and things into like a little bit more light, since TikTok just kind of like took their lunch.
Yeah. And I think it was a strategic move from Zuckerberg to have Messeri be
100% agree.
So, and also to have this not be, you notice like what I thought was interesting is they're not branding Threads as like a Meta app. It's an Instagram app.
Yeah.
Like they're really siloing Instagram as, and it always kind of has been, but like really intentionally, Instagram is like over here. Cause when people think of Facebook, they just Facebook is Zuckerberg.
Yep.
Instagram, it's like, well, Zuckerberg owns it, but it's really Messeri. He's the face of it.
Yep.
And like, he has a lot less ill will against him. Nobody really has an opinion about him. He's just like the guy who runs Instagram.
Yeah.
And so Threads is kind of distanced from Zuckerberg to an extent. And I think it was like a very smart move by Meta to put a wall between those two.
Yeah. And instead of getting just random people to do the updates and random workers or just people that they hire, you know what I mean? To have him be the guy and come in and like fight for, reach and explain to you why you're not getting it and kind of like give real updates and like answer questions and like not hide from the crowd. You know what I mean? Cause like obviously Elon tweets, but it's just letters, but he's actively like, here's my face. This is what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. So I think it's a good play. I think Threads is going to, I don't know what's going to happen with it. There's so much debt, right? And they're not changing. They're actually reversing. Like they're getting worse, I think. And I think this is going to take a lot of people, but I also don't know if it'll become the news network and the insights and media as kind of like Twitter was. So hopefully it kind of stays in that platform. I think it's also a good opportunity for Trump's right now to kind of come take some market share as well.
Yeah, potentially. Subtle thing that Twitter did, which I think is interesting. I mentioned probably posted a few months ago saying like, hey, if Twitter wants to solve their like revenue problem, they need to allow political advertising. That's like an easy layup. And they didn't really announce it, but like I'm always kind of digging in because we're always looking for places to advertise. And so we were reaching back out to the Twitter team to like see if we could do political stuff. And I was like, let me just like dive a little deeper into the ad policy and just check it up again. And dove deep into it and noticed that they have political authorization, just like Facebook. Mm-hmm. We got approved for it. We're now able to run political ads.
Oh, wow.
They haven't. I don't know why they haven't. I mean, I assume they haven't because they don't want to draw the heat.
Right.
But at the same time, it's hard to get people to advertise politically if they don't know they can advertise politically. But I think that's going to be actually a massive revenue driver for the next 12 months for them is all the candidates and people that sell political-based products.
Oh, yeah. Because
you can't do it on a lot of channels. And Twitter is such a hot place for political talk that it like fits really nicely into there. But yeah, that was something that's like came out of nowhere. Like I was just like looking through and was like, oh crap, this is amazing. Sent it over to our team. They got approved for it. And now we're up and running there. But they've been, it's weird when we had a call with their head of the ad business a few months ago, and they were all like gung ho, like, well, we were going to be aggressive, all this stuff. And like literally the first probably 4 or 5 offers, things we put up on there, ad accounts got shut down, ads rejected. And it's like, guys, you can't say you want to like draw all those advertisers and have like the most aggressive ad policy. It's like if you want to get advertisers on board, you need to loosen up a little bit. Doesn't mean you need to allow like porn or like violence or crazy things, but like somebody wants to advertise a supplement, like let them advertise a supplement, right? Weight loss, like there's certain markets that just like, finance, wealth, like if you want to get ad revenue, be a little looser there. You'll get plenty, the money's there.
Oh yeah.
Right? For certain markets that are basically what I would do if I was Twitter is say like, okay, we're going to be a lot softer on policy and we're going to let things run. What I like is actually have community notes on ads. I don't know if you noticed that. So like the community notes feature Elon built out was like the community, if it's like a story that people disagree with or think's fake, they can like submit evidence. And then there's like under the post, there's things that says like community notes and it'd be like basically a fact check.
Oh, wow.
And so I started seeing on ads where like, it's like a scam product and the community note says basically like, hey, the thing in this video actually isn't the real product or things like that. I think that's great. I think what you should do is like allow almost like a free for all, but like allow people's bullshit to get called out and to be labeled. So it's like if somebody's dumb enough that they want to buy a product that's basically says, hey, this is a scam, that's on them.
That's on you.
But like, and obviously you still need to have some rules around things that are legal products and violent products and stuff. But like,
there's something on like slander and all that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, but it's like, this weight loss product makes more aggressive claims. It's like, come on. It's like anybody that thinks that any weight loss product is going to help them lose 10 pounds in 5 days is a moron.
And I mean, like, it's not like they don't watch it on TV, right? Like
it's all over the place.
That's what it is. I mean, if you look any prescription ad you're watching on television, it's like, hey, cures this, also could kill you, like this, like
75 seconds on just all
like
the
literally how you
effects.
might die if you take this. Like it's crazy, and that goes live. Like it's no problem.
That's fine on TV. It's fine on radio. It's fine everywhere. But it's when it comes to online advertising.
I've never understood like these platforms, right? Like there's clear, I know we're not, in the grand scheme of things, we're direct response people like us aren't like a big deal, right? We do like make like a bump in the revenue,
but it's nothing.
But it's nothing. But like they've never like really built out like, hey, there's a performance division ran by a dude that used to do marketing. So he knows the convo. He can come to us and say, well, these guys, this is why. And there's like a relationship because things could get better. You could make more money. We could make more money. But like we're kind of like the black sheep always.
Yeah, it's a big problem. A lot of the people working at these big tech companies on the actual ad teams
have no clue.
Aren't advertisers. They don't understand the other side of it. They're used to working in like big agency world, right? New York City
impressions.
Yeah, they're used to working with those types of companies that are working with Coca-Cola and McDonald's and stuff. And it's like, yeah, those guys spend a lot, but there are so many other. There's a lot more companies out there that you need to understand, and they just have no understanding of like what those businesses really need, what it's like to actually be like a direct response marketer, and like that's what they need to focus on.
That would be dope, and it's as simple as like $500,000 job for like an old guy that used to like do DR, like real, not like even TV DR, but like online DR.
Yeah, build divisions out in all your companies around performance marketing,
like and actual help and support, right? Like it's so difficult nowadays to get actual help and support in these platforms, because it's all going to the big stuff or whatever the case. But there's so much more room to like be able to, especially now as creators are creating more, right? Like it's a whole business models come from it, all that kind of stuff. Really, if you really care about creators and you really care, that's tied to direct response. That's tied to like advertising. That's tied to user generated content. Like get it, like if you're caring about the reach and the thing, care about the marketing. Like, hey, what are you guys going to advertise? Why? This is what we don't like. This is just more conversations, like freaking webinars that were real with like, you know what I mean? Like what we do for like all our things, it would just change the dynamic of the relationship. Because a lot of times you just get shut down. Like why? I'm not going to tell you. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the biggest. And we could probably spend a whole episode talking about this, but 100%. Like, I mean, the biggest gripe I've always had with the ad platforms is not that they shut things down. That is a part. But like the biggest part is that they don't explain why. That's always my biggest thing. It's like, if you want to make advertising, if your goal is like, we want to have better advertisers on the platform, more people following the rules, then you need to explain to people why they broke the rules. It's like, we have kids, right? When you're raising a kid and your kid does something wrong, you don't just punish them and expect they're not going to do it again. Right. If Quinn, right now, we get home, he did it today. His yogurt pouch, took it and decided for whatever reason, I'm going to just spray it everywhere. Yeah. So we said, hey, you can't do that. We can't take our yogurt pouch and spray it. It makes a mess. We need to clean it up. The dog's good. We explained why. Yeah. Right. And so he'll be, understands it, and kids will understand like why I shouldn't do that. And I shouldn't do that again, not just because I got yelled at, but now I know what I got yelled at for and how to do better. So he's not going to do it going forward. It's like this. It's the same thing. It's like advertisers need to know you got rejected, your ad got rejected, or your ad account got banned, or your profile got banned because you did this, this, and this. And it's like, until they give you, first of all, I think like they shouldn't be able to ban you without giving you at least 1 or 2, 3 strikes. I think there should be a 3-strike policy. It should be like a law. In my opinion, it's like once you're a social platform with over 100 million users, whatever the qualification is, users need to be given 3 strikes before they're banned from the platform. And each ban needs to come with a very specific 1-page document of here's with evidence. So you said this, here's exactly what term of service it broke, what rule it broke. And that way, so it's either you can appeal and say, I didn't say that or didn't do that, or it's a strike and it sits on you and then it's okay, I won't do it again. So now I at least have 2 strikes.
Right.
But like there's no consistency and there's no logic and there's no rhyme or reason and there's no appeal process. And it's like, it's a disaster. I think it's a big problem. I think it's going to, the more and more concentrated the online world becomes with ownership, right? As you see like 2, 3, 4 companies owning everything.
Yeah.
It becomes a bigger problem that like if you live, especially if like VR, AR takes off and you actually are living most of your time in these worlds and you can be banned from them.
It's like that Black Mirror episode.
Yeah. Where you can't be seen.
Yeah.
Like that sounds crazy.
That is going to give
but
people
it's not
severe
that crazy.
depression. Like the VR, that's a whole other episode. We'll cap this one here soon. But the VR, AR stuff, like it's going to be amazing. It is going to create a world of just bums that are depressed and sad, like problems.
Yeah.
Also great things.
Yeah, great things.
We should talk about that next one.
Yeah, we can talk about all the good things. But yeah, it's we have not as a species one just biologically evolved fast enough. Like our brains just haven't evolved as fast as our technology, which is why like all these apps and stuff can addict us because we're still programmed for like survival instincts and these they manipulate that.
Yeah.
But like also just from a law perspective, legally, our laws and legislation regulations haven't moved fast enough to realize that like these are utilities. Like
that's
we treat
another
utilities one way. We're not treating like a company that has basically almost the entire world population on it. That should be treated differently than just a private company. It's no longer. It's like it's a utility. Yeah. Right. And so there's a whole conversation to be had there.
That's another place that needs marketers. Yeah. Well, all right, guys, listen. Subscribe, join the notifications. If you are on Threads, go on Threads. Max posted. We'll probably post it again today. But let us know what kind of topics you guys want us to talk to. We're going to figure out at some point, too, how to maybe do some lives here. And that is it for the second episode of the official Max and Low Show, guys. So we will see you guys on the next one.
Later, guys.
Bye.